Hello everyone, I have Arjun with me. Arjun has been a successful GSOC participant with jQuery in 2016. Yeah, welcome Arjun. Yeah, so how was your experience in GSOC 2016 working with jQuery?
My experience with jQuery and GSOC in general, if I have to sum up in one word, it would be growth. Growth in every segment as a programmer, as a generalist library maker, as a developer, JavaScript, code standards, everything. You get reviews from open source, you get to work with other very successful developers who are professionals and working with multinational organizations and doing some cutting edge work. You get lots of exposure which you won't usually get anywhere else. You get to be a part of an interactive community of young and vibrant developers around the world. You get exposed to people from different countries and beliefs and structures, which helps you grow as whole as a person. It's a very the effort or the experience, though it's 3 months, but it almost feels like you've grown or aged a year after that.
So that's great. So, what are the advantages you see being involved with jQuery or other open source organizations? So, a lot of people are using jQuery with JavaScript. So, how it feels contributing to jQuery and other open source projects?
Thank you for your question. jQuery is a very big organization. It's the main jQuery library. It's used in round about 80 to 90% of site today. So it's very, at first it was very intimidating, thinking you were going to work for such a big organization. jQuery has a lot of projects, sub-projects like jQuery Mobile, jQuery UI, which along with the standard jQuery library that we as web developers use. My project was related with such a library called hammer.js. It's a touch and gesture recognition open source library. It doesn't have any dependencies. Suppose you use jQuery at your site, so your site has a dependency on jQuery. The one thing great about Hammer is doesn't have any dependencies. It's a standalone library and it's really small, 7 KB minified and gzipped. It doesn't add much payload to your website, but it gives full functionality. So the things I'll recommend people who should contribute to open source, why they should, number one reason would be exposure. You get exposed to senior programmers, code bases, good programming practices, web standard, tooling like Git, GitHub, Grunt and automation stuff. The second would be you grow and you mature as a programmer. The end result after GSOC, the person you become, it's very different from the person you go in. You have grown so much in the period given the tooling and the experiences you have been through. So first would be exposure and second would be you grow and develop as a programmer.
Yeah. So, what would be your advice to the people who are looking forward to contribute for GSOC 2017, or specifically the areas in JavaScript that one should focus to like participate in an organization like jQuery?
Alright. First, I would start that if you'd like to contribute to GSOC 17, start early. The more, the better. First, you have to get your hold on JavaScript as a language. jQuery and JavaScript, they are sometimes used synonymously. People replace JavaScript with jQuery, but you have to understand JavaScript on a level that maybe people who create jQuery understand. Not that expert or mastery level, but you at least should have a good hold of the language, because the projects jQuery works on, they are written in plain JavaScript. The output is jQuery, but the input is JavaScript. So you at least have to have a basic hold or basic to advanced hold on JavaScript to progress as a language. Second would be organizing your project clearly into phases. That helps you and your mentor keep your work in check and timely evaluations. Third would be keep margins when you propose in your timeline, because stuff like testing and upgrading, tooling and API changes, that comes out of nowhere. you have to keep margins in your timeline for those stuff. Suppose you said that I'll complete XYZ work till midterm evaluations, but due to these things you didn't only complete Y, just completed X and you couldn't complete Y. So that causes for anxiety and frustration on part of developers and maybe mentors. So I'll ask the students, like, plan your project accordingly and keep margins. As for trends emerging in JavaScript, I think front-end client-side framework is a good site to look at. There are many new innovations like React Native, Ember.js. There are lots of opportunities to learn, and all these approaches improve performance and how you approach web applications as a whole. With React, you can create new components, and your site can just be collection of components which changes state. That's very different from the approach currently followed. That's in turn very different from the approach. So JavaScript scene is changing really fast. You have to keep up. A framework life cycle is something that's usually that's now really shortened. You have to keep up, and you have to like learn tools like bundling tools like Webpack or Rollup and stuff like Grunt and Gulp for automation. All these is part of the growing JavaScript ecosystem nowadays, and I think the future is really JavaScript. And native apps like your Android and iOS app, they in not now but in the coming like 5 years, they could be replaced with web apps.
So that was a nice interview with Arjun. Thank you, Arjun, for joining us. We wish you all the best for the future projects you are going to build for the entire world. Thank you for joining us. Yeah.